What's up, everyone? I'm Selena Easter, and welcome to Lessons in Leadership, your favorite leadership podcast where we sit down with top-rated, world-class leaders to talk all things leadership and learning. This show is designed to give you a behind-the-scenes look into what makes these leaders tick and what it really takes to reach the top. From their successes to their failures, no stone gets left unturned. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss out. Let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of Lessons in Leadership. I'm super excited about today. Today on the podcast, we have brand new regional manager, Will Mensing. Will, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here and ready to chat.
There you go. Will, I have to tell you congratulations because I know that working towards regional manager position, that was such like a big deal for you and a big goal for you. And for you to finally get that, what does that feel like for you? How's it been going so far?
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's a ton of fun. Honestly, the next step, it's everything I thought it would be. It's my personal favorite parts of the job. I love problem solving, and this level it's problem solving. I love helping people and helping managers develop and grow and run their own clubs. It's a lot of fun. It's only been about 6 or so weeks so far. So far, I love it. Outside of COVID. It's all good. So.
Yeah. What kind of new challenges? Obviously, there's new policies and procedures in place. How has that affected the team so far? Maybe just even emotionally, mentally. What have you been having to sort of combat currently?
Down here in Austin, it's obviously Texas. We're getting hit pretty hard right now. So Austin is kind of the forefront of requiring masks, like having members wear masks, and the mandates change almost daily. I think in early June, it was. In my region, I have, different cities in my region. So just because one policy doesn't mean the next one is either. So, just, trying to figure out all the mandates. And then, when the governor came across, masks for everyone, it helped a little bit. But it's just, there's a lot going on right now. You have, some people on one side of the fence, like, it's not real, masks are dumb. The other side, like, hey, you're not encouraging masks. They both want to cancel. So trying to find a way to keep them both happy and just keep working on our gyms.
Absolutely. It's not an easy job. It's very tough, but you bring so many strong skills to the table that we know and we trust that you can handle it and tackle it and train and coach your team. And today, that's really why I wanted to bring you on the podcast. You are known for churning out a ton of different leaders. There's a ton of people that have worked under your wing, so to speak, that have grown with our company. So there's quite a few people, and I think a lot of that comes from your ability to build a really strong team culture. So today we're going to focus all about building team culture, what it is, and that's really what I want to start with. I feel like so many people talk about culture and culture this or culture that, but nobody really takes time to explain what culture is. So let me ask you, what in your opinion do you feel like true team culture is, and why is it so important?
Yeah, people definitely talk about culture, right? Or, they say the word, but they don't really understand, what it is and the application for it. To me, especially in the company, culture, it's kind of like your unique identity. It's your brand in essence. If you have your own business, it's up to you. I think your first step in building a brand is, what your culture is going to be like. It represents who you are, your, the shared beliefs, what you believe in, what you want to, strive to be. I think, building a culture in a club, even though we have our core values, our mission statement, that's where we can start, but it's really taking an individual look and trying to figure out who you are and what you want your club to be and look like.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a lot of it is defining your vision for the goal for your team, for you as a manager, maybe how you see your team members evolving. And I think what's really interesting is people don't realize whether you establish with intent a culture, either way, a culture just exists. And I think you and I had spoken on this before, but for instance, let's say that the manager typically runs 5 minutes late, and then a few employees on the staff, they also run 5 minutes late. So then it's you have a culture of a lack of punctuality. And then it's people on the team just are late because that's a culture. So it's even if you don't necessarily define a culture, a culture just exists. So you're really better off really establishing and having standards for what you want that to look like.
Yeah, 100%. It's coming out one way or another.
Yeah.
If you don't, cultivate it and grow it to what you want it to be, it's gonna, wherever you're doing, that's gonna be your culture. I've actually had assistant managers in the past saying, hey, can we write up so-and-so for what they did? And I'm like, I did that. I can't write this person up if I'm doing the same thing they're doing. I'm the leader of the club, and I'm setting the tone. Like, if this is an issue, let me address it first, and then we'll trickle down. But yes, exactly. If you don't address your culture, it's going to come out, whether you like it or not. So if you put zero effort into it, you're going to be living in that culture. I mean, that's just it's going to show one way or another.
That's a really powerful point. And we always say lead by example, but that's really what we mean. Like, if you yourself are not living up to the expectations or holding your team, like, you cannot expect your team to go above and beyond when you're not even meeting like the, required standards or status quo. Like, you really have to be the one that shows up early, that's getting out on the floor, that's cleaning, that's, taking the brunt of the issues, whatever it is. Like, you really have to be at the forefront of your team and lead the way so that they can follow in your footsteps. And whatever you are doing, they're going to follow, whether it's good or bad. So that's a really powerful point. How do you personally create a culture? So you've worked at a lot of different clubs in different regions and footprints within our company. When you go in, like, what are some of the first steps you do to create a culture that's to your liking or your perspective?
I think I've been obviously in multiple locations, and I think every approach was slightly different, the same and different. When I come in, I first observe. I mean, that's just who I am as a person. Even back in school, people warn me about teachers. I'm like, let me go there first, and before I make a rash decision, just because you don't like this person doesn't mean I'm not going to like this person. Maybe I don't know who you are, what you guys apply stuff to. So first, I assess the team, assess where we're at, and I mean that can take a month, that can take a week, that can take 5 minutes. Walking into a club and no one's in uniform takes instant. You can see some things. So it really all depends. But first understanding what the situation is. And then the next step is basically, find out and write it out. I think one, key aspect that helps a lot of people, and it helps me. I know a lot of, other podcasts, CEOs, and, business owners, they always talk about writing things out, like having a vision board, a statement that they look back to, like actually visually see it. I know Brandon Seaball keeps things on his mirror where you can actually go back and look every day, like, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Having something like that, sitting down and writing out, like, hey, for example, Tulsa Admiral, when I was there, I knew, it was a poor culture, high turnover. Nobody really cared about the job. It was a job for them. It was, I get paid $9-10 an hour, and at least, there's nothing more to it. So my, goal there was, build a stronger culture that people, enjoy working in, that they want to grow and develop and lead in, and, take pride in their job, pride in their work, And I mean, there's just various, tasks in different ways you can do that as well.
Yeah, and let's say that there's maybe a manager that's like less experienced and they take on a club and then they notice like maybe the team doesn't really want to be there, they're calling in more than they should, they don't really care, they're not putting that much effort. What sort of tips would you recommend they implement? Like, how do they make it a fun environment where people want to go to work?
To me, you can always just talk. I mean, communication is vital, I mean, if they're not meeting their standards, let them know. I don't think there's anything wrong with open, honest communication with staff members. I've had, many staff who've been in the company for, 3, 4, 5 years, and they're not meeting the level of expectations that we need them to meet. And I can tell right off the gate, like, look, this is going to be a lot more challenging than you're used to. I'll just be honest with you. I mean, at the end of the day, I like you as a human being. I like you as a person. I'll support you in any way I can. If this gets too much, let me know and I can assist you. If you want to leave, there's no hard feelings. There's no hard feelings towards you. I'll help you. I'll write you a letter of recommendation. That I will help you out the best I can because I care about you as the individual more than anything else right now. But at the same time, this job and this culture I'm trying to build, like, this is where we need you to be. So just writing down what your goals are. If you're a new manager, writing what you want, and figuring out how we're going to get there. If it takes talking individually with your teammates, I mean, that's basically what it is. Figuring out where they are, what they believe in, and to get them on board with where you want to go.
How important do you think it is to like establish a relationship with them first before you're like, hey, like, you're not meeting standards, like kind of what you're talking about, like find out more about them, what their goals are, what makes them tick, so you can leverage those, I guess, like turn key points as you coach them up or out?
I mean, it's big. If you come in, if you're my manager, Slim, you come in and just start telling me all these things to do, I'll probably listen because I understand you're the new manager, but I don't feel any, I don't care. I'm not going to buy into what you want to do. I'm not going to buy into the company or buy into my club like you're just another new manager. Maybe the third manager I had this year, So when you take time to get to know your people, and actually care, and treat them like individuals and treat them like people, I think they buy in a little easier. You understand things. You start learning things about these individuals, like, okay, they're not strong in this area because they came from an upbringing that, is foreign to you. It's like, it's a big deal. feel. And it's like, okay, maybe I can put them on this other path versus, my 6 to 2 who's like thriving in all areas, just because they're doing great doesn't mean my 2 to 10's on the same page.
Right. And I think that's a good point. And I think once you have that relationship and you show that you care about who they are as people, what they have going on in their lives, you understand their strengths, their weaknesses, what's motivating them. Some people are motivated by money. Some people want just a family like oriented like work environment. Some people want to come to work and have a good time. Whatever is driving them to like show up to the job, you want to use that to your advantage to coach them. And I think that's so key to establish that relationship. But I think also to your point, to actually take time to tell them, hey, these are your areas of opportunity. It shows you care. If you just gloss over it or don't like directly address it, like the employee just sees it like they don't care if I do well or if I do bad, or they don't even care enough to take time to sit me down to tell me what I'm doing well or doing bad. Have you ever seen the show on Netflix called 100 Humans? Have you seen that?
The what?
100 Humans on Netflix. Have you seen that show? No?
Yeah,
Okay, so you should watch it, especially because you're a sociology major like me. Like, it's all these like sociological experiments, and one of them was they took like a group of humans and they taught them how to like spin plates, like they do in the circus. So they had him like this like professional plate spinner, like teaching like all these employees how to spin the plates, and they basically were testing like positive reinforcement. So no matter if they were good or bad at spinning the plates, like a certain group of them, they were telling them, "You did amazing, you did such a great job. Come back on this other day, and you're gonna try again." Blah blah blah. And then another group, regardless of their performance, they were like, "Yeah, that wasn't good." They gave like harsh criticism. Blah blah blah. So essentially what they found was that the people that they gave positive reinforcement, all their performance like went up, and the people that they gave harsh criticism, their performance went down, even if they were really good in the first place. So just like the way that they're talking to them. So I think that's kind of like, I thought that was really key too, because it kind of just points out how important it is to give your team feedback, and more importantly, like positive feedback, so that when you do have to give them a criticism, like they're able to like take that in more clearly, and they know that you're coming from a good place. Yeah, but
the more feedback, the more feedback, and you're consistent with your feedback, it gets to the point, it doesn't even matter if it's good, bad, ugly. They're so used to receiving feedback from you. If you call someone into the office and it's only for negative, even as me as an RM, if I come to your club and I'm known like, hey, if I come to your club, it's for a write-up, everybody knows that. You know what I mean? But if I come to your club and like, I've gone to like even some of the clubs so far, like, why are you here? You know, walk the club, you know the BER, I'm just here to hang out. What's up? I want to get to know you and your staff. Like, I'm not here for anything negative. I'm just here. And with your team, it's the more feedback you provide. I like that you said, some people are motivated by money, some are motivated by workplace environments. If you find that out, use that to your advantage. Like I've had staff who said, hey, I want money. Let me show you how to get as much money. Let me show you how to maximize the bonuses. Let me show you how to like promote to assistant manager, general manager role. Like, if you want money, if you're motivated by money, let me show you how to get that. If you're motivated by like a good workplace environment, let me show you how we can, as a team, build that. So like just knowing and understanding what your team wants, like it's part of your culture. It's part of where you can drive and reach your end goal. Like, you are in control. The leader, you're in control. These aspects.
Absolutely. And that's such powerful advice, like to use that to your advantage. What role do you think like hiring plays into a team culture? And then I guess, what do you look for in individuals when you're looking to hire?
Obviously, a lot of people know I used to coach college basketball for a little bit. Really great things. I think for me, going back to the coaching days, it was attitude and effort. And that was the two things I think from coaching. That's one thing I've applied here at Planet Fitness is if you give me two things, attitude and effort, I'll hire you. You're gonna thrive under me in this franchise. In the interview process, when I start my interview process, it's usually with who or the position I'm going to hire for. So if I'm hiring a mid-morning position, usually I'll rope in my 6 to 2. Like, me and the 6 to 2 will do the interview together. It gives them an opportunity to describe the position, describe the mornings. They have more insight in the mornings than I do. I'm out there at 6 a.m. So they can talk about what they go through on a daily basis, how the member base is, what they can expect. So I usually include somebody, a staff member, in that process. The opening question, I've had people give me crazy looks. My AMs, my 6-2s, whatever, give me crazy looks because the opening question, tell me about yourself. What I'm actually pushing for is, how can we relate? Like, you say something about Netflix. Okay, what was that show? Let me write it down and actually watch it. Let's talk. Have you seen Game of Thrones? I can't tell you how many shows I've watched because of other people in interviews have told me like, hey, I watched this show. I hired this person to watch that show. We have a connection just based off something small that not related to the job, but at the end of the day, it builds that rapport, it builds that trust, and builds like
Mm.
And then obviously hiring for your team, for your culture. If you're looking for a quick fix, I mean, that's not going to work out. As a GM, I mean, your salary at this point, it's hard sometimes. As the owner of your club, you might need to work extra hours. You might need to work, a weekend or two, in order to find the right weekend person. If you hire the first person who walks through the door, they're going to be gone by next weekend anyway. You'll be working next weekend. So taking the time to actually, invest in the interview process, get to know people. Like when you tear down the barriers, tear down the walls. Everyone's nervous. They're trying to get a job. They're nervous. They're going to tell you what they want to hear. But if you can find in that first question some common ground, you can see it. Like they relax, they slouch a little bit. They're super relaxed, which isn't always the most professional thing. But you're getting the best. So you're getting the truth. You're getting the honesty there. So at the end of the day, you want to get that honesty and build what's going to help your culture.
Absolutely. That's great advice. How do you pick up on effort in the interview? Like, do you ask any particular questions? Are you looking for certain examples or responses? Like, how do you really establish, like, this person's going to give me effort or even they have a positive attitude in the interview?
Some questions I ask, like how, I always ask in my interviews, if I were to ask one of your coworkers, not a supervisor, not a manager, but someone you work side by side with, describe you, as a coworker, like how, what do you think they would say about you as a coworker? And even asking, what you do, what you like to do for fun, how you are, how you describe your work ethic. Like it's amazing how truthful people are and will let you know. Like I get, I'll do all my tasks. If you tell me what to do, I'll always do it. Sounds great, but really, to me, it's almost like you're gonna do exactly what I tell you, and that's it. So trying to read between the lines a little bit and understand, what extra do they give. On Career Plug, I always, listed, 5 like pre-screen questions. And everyone knows this. Everyone, most people who were hired under me, if you left me a paragraph, you were interviewed and you were probably hired. Those who give one-word answers, like it's cleaning is part of the daily job. Are you okay with this? Yes. Some people say yes. Here's why. They're getting called into the interview because they're giving the extra effort already. In a questionnaire, not even for an interview yet. So they're already showing me, before I even call them for the interview, that they're willing to do more than required.
I think that's so key, and that's what I look for as well. Like when people's natural passion or genuine interest comes through, they're going to naturally give you examples of how they demonstrate that quality. A lot of times, if it's sort of rehearsed, it'll sound rehearsed, it'll feel rehearsed, and maybe it's just like a canned response that you've heard time and time again. But when people are like genuinely passionate, like they're going to give a very unique answer and they're going to want to elaborate because that passion's going to come through and they want to share with you like why they're interested in the job, why they're passionate about fitness, why they want to work for your team. So I think to your point, giving those concrete examples or hearing that in the interview, that's a really good telltale sign.
You can tell when things are rehearsed. You can tell when people, and it's to their credit, it's good when people actually go through like mock interview and, plan ahead, but, on a scale from 1 to 5, rate yourself, and that you can tell a 4 because I can always improve. You can tell like that person, like I nailed that question. Okay, you really didn't say anything different than the 10 other people I interviewed so far. Like, what's your honest answer? Like, what can you improve on? And it's I've had people say I'm a 5, I'm perfect. Okay. Then I had like my AM jump in and say, is there anything that you think you can improve on? Yeah, this, and this. Like, okay, so how are you a 5? Like, it's just it's interesting to see like people who think they're giving you what you want to hear versus like the truth and like this is who I am as an individual. This is what I'm bringing to the table.
Yeah, I love that. I think I mentioned earlier, like you have a reputation for churning out so many leaders. Even when we go to like the GM or leadership summits every year, I feel like there's so many managers I meet. They're like, yeah, I worked with Will, or I worked under Will, or he trained or coached me. Like I hear your name pop up a lot. How do you approach training and coaching your team? And did you draw like certain, I guess, techniques from when you did coach basketball, or can you kind of talk us through that process?
Yeah, first of all, the GM huddles are more fun every year. You start seeing more and more faces recognized. It's great. It's a great experience. It's a lot of fun. With that, I mean, I came up, in the Tulsa region. Antonio was my RM at the time. He always told me, that Mike came and said the same thing, like, hey, train people to take your job. I'm like, great. So my philosophy is I'm training 9 a.m.s at once. If it's your first day and you're a part-time cleaner, you're obviously on a different level than my, 6 to 2 who's been here for 3 years, but I'm training you to be an assistant manager. Like I'm giving you the tools and resources to become an assistant manager. I think this solidified when I met Brad Lone in South Carolina. His big thing was, literally train yourself out of the position in every aspect, in every way possible. To the point where if you don't show up for 2 weeks, are you even missed? Like, do people even know? Like, at the end of the day, your job is to walk around with the GM and say, like, you're a politician. You're shaking hands and kissing babies, just waving, talking to people because your club is running so efficiently. So with that, it's, I've had talks already with GMs down here. It's, delegate. If they can't meet your level, and, spoiler alert, they won't, not all the time. If they can give 80% of what you're capable of, that's good. Like, let's go from there. But give them as much as possible. It's much easier to correct and adjust, mistakes they make versus trying to teach everyone every aspect of this job. There's so many things, and so many things change, right? But if you just give them the opportunity, like, hey, this is what I need done, give them an outline, give them a guidance, and let them do it, you're going to know what they excelled at, and you're going to know what they failed at. The things that they failed at, say, hey, this was done great over here, but, next time, work on this, this, and this, and you're going to be phenomenal, And at the end of the day, the next time they do it, they'll be better. The next time they do it, they'll be better again. And it gets to that point where you have people running your club, and you're sitting there like, what do I do? Like, maybe I should transfer, maybe I should do something. Like, what am I doing right now? Because you just train yourself on your positions.
And that should really be everyone's like objective or goal. And yes, does it take more time to coach your team on a daily basis, train and give them guidance on, different decisions they make? It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of energy and effort. But if you're putting that up front, to your point, like your club's going to run like a well-oiled machine. You don't have to be there if something happens or you want to promote yourself out of that role. Like you have the people, the key players in place to see the succession of that club and the success of that club. And honestly, even when I had employees that like didn't really see a future with PF, I would still train and coach them. Maybe I wouldn't prioritize them. If there was people that had intention to stay with PF, maybe I would like prioritize their training first, but I would really try to train and coach my whole team to the next level, whatever that was, even if they didn't want to stay with the company, because sometimes people's goals change and they fall in love with the culture of PF. They fall in love with the club. They fall in love with like the business model, whatever it is. And they decide to stay. And then it's like, you're not having to retroactively go back and train. Like they already know what to do. So it's just like, preparing your team and for them to stay, even if that's not the intention. Like I think it's just really kind of smart for your club.
Every club I took over, our first meeting, I would literally say, raise your hand if you want to be here for the rest of your life. And nobody ever raised their hand. Like, look around. You see this? Like, I need you to understand we're all in the same boat. My hand isn't raised. Like, my hand's not raised. And you're, just because, I'm just here for a job. When I got hired at Planet Fitness, I had moved from Los Angeles to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I got a job, and here I am years later in this position, with a plan, no, but, I've learned what this, company can give you and, where you can grow and, like, what you can do in this company. And, so I try to reiterate that to the team. This might not be your long-term goal right now that you know of, but for the time and effort, if you're going to be here for 3 years anyway, if you're going to be here for 3, 4, 5 years, why not move up? Why not be in a position of power where, if you don't like something I'm doing, take my job. I mean, I came up through GMs who are no longer here for a reason, and I learned so much from them. It was, hey, they're not doing X, Y, and Z. If I get that spot, I'm going to make sure my team has X, Y, and Z every day. We're not going to run out of Swiffers. We're not going to run out of paper towels. We're not going to, they're going to be equipped and given the tools and knowledge to grow and take, these spots.
I love it. Yeah, that's amazing. And I think that's why you've been successful. It's all about like evolving and challenging the status quo and working to be better. And whether people like it or not, like our company's evolving and we're pushing the limits and, even getting like franchisee of the year, it just shows like our standards and the stakes are high. Like we're always like pushing, raising the bar. So I think because of people like you that aren't afraid to raise the bar and to challenge the status quo. So I think that's great. And I think instilling that culture, that's a part of your philosophy or your ideology, like instilling that culture into your team, like that just spreads throughout our whole company. So it's so powerful. Kind of switching gears a bit, there's been a lot, especially in the news and just in society in general, like just a ton of conversations surrounding diversity. What role do you believe it plays into team culture? And if it plays a role, like what's the importance of that?
I think it plays a huge role. Not in just in this company, but in life, period. I mean, diversity, fundamentally, America was built on diversity, right? We're supposed to be a mix of everything, the melting pot for a reason. And I think if you look at anything great, that has happened in the past is because of diversity, because of someone letting someone else and been like, hey, we can elevate, we can get further. If you look at XL Fitness, we were doing pretty well out here in Texas. Look at CJ Bouchard. He was doing pretty well out there in, North Carolina. We become one, and look at our operations now. Look where we are now, franchisee of the year now. We weren't franchisee of the year when we were just in Texas, you know what I mean? But we were just including, different franchise, different ideas, different voices, and trying to, figure out, where we can go as a team. Bringing this down onto a club level, same idea, same concept. To me, it's like if everyone in your club looks the same, talks the same, acts the same, everything's the same, it might seem like, hey, I have a good culture, I have a good flow here. I can tell you right now, you're not maximizing your potential of your club. You're missing out on demographics of members. You're missing out. You could be making 3 times more money right now because the members see like what kind of people are working behind your front desk. You're bringing different ideas and different backgrounds, different just philosophies. Period. If you're open and trying different things, I mean, you're going to excel and reach your maximum potential.
Absolutely. And people don't realize that like diversity brings unique experiences, it brings unique perspectives, and those collectively provide like added value to the discussion. My dad always has the saying, like, if we're in a meeting together and you and I are on the same page, then both of us don't need to be there. Like, we agree, we're in a line. Like, if you don't have like a unique perspective or idea, like, you're not really adding value to the discussion, the topic, whatever it is. And I think to your point, taking it back to the club level, the more that you can bring different individuals from different backgrounds, perspectives, whatever it is, that creates more value for you, your team, your club, and it's so crucial.
It's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And if I'm peanut butter all day and all I know is peanut butter and all you know is jelly, on your own, you're good. I'm good. But if we come together, my God, we make a hell of a sandwich.
Yeah, and I think that's true. Like, I mean, you don't want like just overindulge in just peanut butter. It's like, yeah, you need to have that like balance or complement. And I think you and I had talked on this before, but like sometimes you need someone different to sort of shake up your team or challenge like the culture a little bit. Can you talk on that some?
Yeah, I mean, we even had that experience, going through in the quarantine, our training with the new hires. And at the time, I was in the VFW area, and Callum was our RM, and he was our interviewee. But the whole region voted him pretty down. They would not hire him. I'm like, I would hire this guy instantly. Why? I said, because like he seemed a little like too bold, too like confrontational. I'm like, my team right now needs that. My team needs someone to shake it up a little bit. My team is all like lovey-dovey, like, hey, we get along well, but like they need someone sometimes who will like, hey, it's been 20 minutes, we should do a club check. If you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I just take that leadership. That was kind of the attitude, in that mock interview that he had, like, hey, I'm not going to stand around and wait for everyone else. If it needs to be done, I'm going to do it. And, rub some people the wrong way, but for me, knowing my team, I'm like, I'll bring that guy in a heartbeat because sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need someone who will push the boundaries, ask questions, shake it up. Obviously, there's limitations and you don't want to have someone who's just going to like, everything here is dumb. This uniform is dumb. I'm not going to wear it. I'm not going to do, the basics of the job. But I mean, if it's challenging something and they can justify like, hey, I'm pushing this forward, I'm progressing in this club, like, that's what you need in your club. You need that. You need that part of your team.
I agree. And I think Casey Moylan from Altamont, he always talks about like a deck of cards, and you're not going to have all 52 cards, but it's like, who can you hire that's going to add to that deck to give you more value or more differences? And yeah, I think just to your point, it's all about what does your culture need? What is your team? What is it lacking right now that someone with a different personality type can really just add that value that you're looking for? So I think that's amazing. Will, before I let you go, any final thoughts, anything you want to share with the team?
I think the last thing for me, the biggest piece of advice I can give is like invest in your people, like invest in your team, invest in your culture. So, people talk about investing, they invest in the stock market, they're trying to get rich, trying to like grow their portfolio, their money. If you invest in yourself, invest in education, why? What are you trying to get? You're trying to get a better job, you're trying to move to a position of power, you're trying to do something else with your education. But nobody really talks about investing in people. What happens, so what you get when you invest in the stock market. You know what you get when you invest in education. But what do you get when you invest into others? So like that's where, the whole like concept of your leader for life, that's what that plays in. People reaching out to me constantly. Some people aren't even with the company anymore, but they're still reaching out to me for guidance because, that was a commitment I made to them, back when they were PF. Like, hey, I'm here for you regardless. Whether you're in this company or not, like I'm very serious. I'm going to help you the best I can. Investing in people, I mean, that's how you want to talk about building your network and building, your growth, your portfolio, or invest in the others, the other myself, look, if I don't like the people around me, I will develop them so they are the people around me. Now looking at the GM huddle, I can say, hey, this is what we've been building. This is what our goal was the entire time. You know, like you can make a change, you can make a difference if you invest in the people. Like they will give you your returns back threefold if you invest into them.
I love that so much because I think people forget like the most valuable thing that you can give anyone is, in my opinion, is your time. And the people that resonate with me or that I value as like my mentors or leaders are people that have given me their time when they didn't have to, or maybe they're on a time crunch, but like they're undivided attention. And I think to your point, investing in your people, like it pays so much back to you. And not that even that it's about that, but it gives so much back to you. And people are willing to go above and beyond when they know that you genuinely like care for them. And you take the time to like train and coach them and develop them, and they see it and they know when it's real and when it's fake. And so I think that's such powerful advice to end on. Well, good deal. Well, awesome, Will. Thank you so much for joining. I had so much fun talking with you. I think you just bring so many insights to the table. I'm so happy for you in your new role, and I can't wait to see what you continue to do with the company, how you evolve with us, the leaders that you groom. I can't wait to see what you do with your new region now and the role that you're in and how you're able to multiply your skills and abilities in Austin. So I think I'm already seeing like the benefits of you coming on as RM. So I'm so grateful to have you a part of our leadership team, and I can't thank you enough.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on here. I mean, obviously I can talk all day. I'll definitely come back in the future if you want. If nobody knows who North Austin is, wait for it. It's coming. It's going to be on the map here shortly. We are working to make something great down here. So happy to be here and happy to be on.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Will. If you enjoyed listening to this episode, be sure to subscribe on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you consume podcasts. You can be the first to know each and every time we post brand new content. Be sure to rate, review, and share. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope today's episode has brought you that much closer to your success. And don't forget to lead with passion and purpose in 2020.